Pledge.
You get it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Y'all for being here. Get the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, Delaware project. Jason.
Thank you all. Good morning. Just quick update and presentation on our project. Of course, I've been in business as the owner of J. Crew Landscape and now Brook Lawn Services, but I've owned a business J. Crew for 22 years here in Muncie. And as that business has evolved and changed, we're looking to figure out kind of where our next move is for maybe hopefully the next 22 years and beyond. Our current location puts us really on the northern edge of our geographical area. In our business, it's highly competitive, and it's important to kind of minimize the windshield time, the drive time. So as I've considered what we want to do for, as I said, the next many years. We've started looking at change of location for our company headquarters, which is currently on South Garkey Street in Muncie. We'd like to move our business to Daleville, although that's not quite exactly in the center. It's about as far south in Delaware County as we can get, because it's our wish to obviously remain in Delaware County. So what we've got in front of us is a piece of property behind the McDonald's in Daleville that we'd like some assistance in purchasing, and then some infrastructure upgrades so that in the next couple of years we can build a new building and move our headquarters from where it's at on South Garkey to that location. That location will be, I think it's a little bit over 3 acres. We'd like to develop it with approximately a 9,000 square foot building. It'll be landscaped well, and it'll be very appropriate for that piece of ground. With that, we can bring somewhere in the neighborhood of 35, 40 jobs to the Daleville area. As I had talked with you, our company currently at peak employment is about 70 people, half of those in Muncie, half of those in Indy, although the administrative team is here. So 9,000 square foot building, 3.5 acres or so, and it'll be a nice building and be very well done and bring these jobs to Daleville. So with that, I've kind of presented a proposal to help with the land acquisition and some of those improvements. Any questions? Anything I can? I've talked with many of you before, and just kind of want to give you a summary of where we're at.
Yeah, you've already answered a lot of the questions that I would have. I would make a motion to have Brad move forward with Jason and J. Crew with the property.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you. Anything else?
I'd also like to make a motion to give Bad Book out authorization to work with Joe Reds to work on the access point and addressing from Anderson to Daleville address.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Morrison sidewalk update, Roger.
I've given each of you an updated schedule where we're at the project. Good news is we have all easements recorded now. Walmart came in through last week. We confirmed that they did receive the check, so we got it recorded the same day. So everything's ready to go for them, and plans are in dot for their reviews, and so we expect it within 10 days or so normal for those, and coordinating with Muncie to make sure they're on board with the project. But we want to move forward with bidding the project. So if acceptable to you, we'd like to go ahead and bid beginning next week, depending on the newspapers and so on. Thinking is, right now, is to open bids on, in your meeting on the 12th of October, that Thursday, at a time that you would prefer, if you want to say it after this meeting, for example, whether that would be in order, or before the meeting.
We could probably just open bids during the meeting, have Joe or.
Take it under
our
advisement,
voters here,
you
and
know.
we take it under advisement after
Okay.
that.
So we set up for, say, 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, is that
That's-
okay?
That's fine.
We'll do that. Probably have a pre-bid meeting a week before that. I'd like to have it at least more than 7 days. So somewhere, a Tuesday generally kind of works for a lot of people. I'm thinking maybe October 3rd, if that works out. I'll work with Brad and just make sure that works out fine. But that's what we're looking at right now. And the start of construction all depends on getting the bonds, insurance in from the contractor. You know, it takes a little while to do that, but there's no, the money's in place. So it's a matter of getting the contractor's information. So I informed NDOT for the permitting that could start as soon as September 30th. And then we would go through a winter period of time, depending on how the weather is. We're really kind of budgeting about 6 months in here, but we could end up sometime maybe next June, July, somewhere in there, depending on weather. So we don't want to give the contractor too much time because we want to make sure it gets done, the project. We also have a phase 1B, because we split this with 1BA and 1B. 1B meaning gives a little more time for NDOT to review. Then we'll look at pedestrian movements for the crossings at the gallery and other places. So we're working with A&F engineers to work up numbers for that. But it kind of dovetails nicely into this because that would be something that would be done near the end of the project anyway. So we're going to have that come in and maybe as a separate bid. That would be probably a specialty contractor anyway that would do that work. So that's how we want to bring that in, and they should be in at the same time.
Roger, I'd recommend you work quickly and closely with the Star Press, because they don't advertise on Mondays or Tuesdays.
Okay.
And they pretty much want the notice to bidders about a week before it hits the newspaper.
Okay.
So you've got a tight
We do.
schedule there.
I'll work with them.
And if you want to email me, I've got contact information at the newspaper.
Okay. I'll be good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from anybody here?
Roger, I'd just like to say that through our business retention and expansion efforts, Bill Walters, we've talked to 3 of the property owners, business owners in that area within like the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and they are so excited about this project. It's long overdue.
Oh, yeah.
They're really excited to get some
We'll have
lots of
some.
foot traffic and know they're walking in the roads, is what they say. So-
We've got other landscaping involved in here, some options. We're going to have those as options in the bid. So we'll see how the bids come in, and you'll decide whether or not you want to go forward with those costs. So some include enhanced brick type, paving type crosswalk areas, as well as irrigation systems and so on. That'll be included, but that'll be your call once it's in.
Just one side
Yeah.
note, Jason probably has to be excited about this because he was part of the original
Yeah.
team.
Glad to get an update. That's awesome.
It's here. So
I was a project that was important to me. I'm glad to see it go.
well, it's going to be the first step is going to be the big one because from then on it kind of paves the way for a lot of other projects, and you'll have a lot of people wanting. Probably be asking when can I get
Yeah.
pathway come in my area.
I mean, you think when you were intrusive and you asked for a sidewalk, to take their land, that they would be really skeptical and angry, but that's totally not been the case in this situation.
They see the value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Been good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Brad.
Okay, Mercix, I have a letter here that, thank you, Jason, that I'll just read real quickly to you. This is from Todd Murray at Mercix Corporation. This was in your packet that I emailed to you as well. I understand that the TFX Bethel site has closure to the extent of the brownfields remediation is now complete. Therefore, I request the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission vote to release the escrow funds held at Old National Bank in the August session of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission, as we didn't have a meeting last month. We're a month behind. If it is decided that remediation is found acceptable by the commission, then a letter that references the motion and acceptance to approve the remediation and the release of funds held in escrow would be required by Mercix. We are complete with our brownfield remediation at that site. The site has now been transferred to Delaware Glass. They're operating there. They have a site status letter from Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Approximately $20,000 of MRSIC's money was utilized to pay for some of the brownfield work that was done there. There's $30,000 remaining approximately, and that is what Mr. Murray's requesting that you release today from the escrow account. So it's my recommendation you vote to release this money.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say, Todd and his group out at Mercy's, probably one of the biggest success stories that we've had here in Delaware County with job creation.
Yeah. This guy has always lived up to everything that we have, every project we have done, this commission has worked.
And anytime we've needed him for anything, he's always been there.
He's very responsive, so, yeah, okay.
All right, being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Joe, Delaware gas station.
All right, so I actually got the final agreement here, a copy of it, for anyone who wants to take a look. In addition to what we talked about already this morning, which is basically that you're buying this property, you're agreeing to clean up the environmental issues, and the seller is agreeing to demolish all the improvements and clear the land and make it so it's just flat grassland that we dead by. One other thing he asked for that I included in here was he does not want to have to pay for any demolition permits. So my goal is to work hard with the town of Daleville to see if we can figure out a way to work it out to where he doesn't have to pay for these permits. Not sure if it'll happen, but I'll try and work some magic there. Other than that, it was a pretty easy deal. Everyone kind of wanted the same thing. And my understanding is he signed yesterday, so it's up to you guys today if you want to agree to it and have Tom sign on behalf of Redevelopment. I'll leave this here for anyone who wants to see it. And did you email it to anyone?
I did
Okay,
not.
that's fine.
Yeah, I did.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry, I did not.
Nope, no
Yeah.
problem.
It was just so fluid the last 3
Yeah.
or 4 days. that-
Yeah, it went quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, that's it. It's a pretty good deal for everyone, I think.
Entertain a motion.
Let our resident realtor on board take a look at it.
One thing, I will say, the agreement has a September 26th closing date. Is that still the date you want?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what we would prefer.
No, we're gonna be recovered. I'm out of town, so.
Okay.
that-
James will have to be the one to sign the closing. You'll closing, James.
Also, while he's reviewing that, I'll just mention on a tangent that I've noticed the academy is framed. The,
Cole
Yeah.
County.
Yes, yeah,
yeah, it's going up.
yeah. That's looking good. Done a lot of work in a short period of time.
Well, they'd actually broken ground before the deal was actually in place, too.
Yeah.
So-
They got a jump start on that. I think they overcommitted to their contractor.
Maybe.
I'm glad it's happening.
I didn't see the due diligence.
It's on the front. It's a defined term. It actually will end
Yeah, sorry.
22nd. Which my understanding is that's already been, I mean, Brad's already been working with them to figure out what's going on there in place, but yeah.
Yes,
Oh, you guys will be down in Evansville, right?
no. We're going to be,
Will they be there
2
before?
weeks for the next.
Yeah, probably 60 days after.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. It's aggressive, but
So what happens if you guys comply?
you guys, I think if I remember correctly, are gonna be entitled to damages and just like some sort of liquidated damages amount,
So much per day or something?
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Pretty
forget
good, Carrie? I don't know what the per diem is.
well, I guess maybe say $100 an hour, since that's what he's.
Yeah, at least have to deal with him.
The commission has previously voted to execute this purchase. It was just,
So maybe-
it was under the understanding that legal counsel would draft and negotiate and finalize the purchase agreement with them, so.
I move to approve the final agreement.
Second.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I just want to make one point.
because I've had to deal with property that has had environmental issues. That is a scary ride, and to not know what we're looking at as taxpayers in this county, it could be expensive. That's all I'll say.
We will try at the next meeting. I believe that the environmental consultant would probably like to give you an update and have a path forward for you and estimated cost for cleanup. And hopefully we'll know back from the Orphan Tank Trust Fund from the state on exactly their percentage that they will be willing to pay. They're willing to pay 40% now, and they're trying to get that raised, so, yeah.
Yeah, Greg's the reason why I brought that up earlier, because you can bore here, dig up over here, and end up with a $200,000, $300,000 problem
Easy.
that, that you never
Yeah.
even thought about.
Just real quick to answer your question, Angie, if he doesn't fulfill his obligation to demolish within the time, the redevelopment commission can then take it upon themselves to do it. He has to reimburse the redevelopment commission for the costs. So either way, he's on the hook. It's just, if he does it, he does it. If he doesn't, someone else does, and he still pays for it.
He has completed other demolitions in the town.
Yes, he has.
He's torn down 2 houses for the wide elimination program. SIG has a good track record with that, so,
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, invoices.
I make a motion to pay all invoices.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Anything else, public discussion?
The
Oh, we got bonds to talk about.
red,
Oh,
we have no bonds.
No bonds.
Where we at on the 2 houses, on the
I
downtown
talked to
project?
Bryce,
And also the great house that sits next to, was it the bicycle shop?
yes. That
Has anybody made any discussion, or,
that
would
one
that
has
house
talked
be-
about. It's the,
yeah, because you have, Bernard, that, the automotive place, right?
oh, Gurnet's.
Yeah, you have that, then you have that, the gray house next to it.
right,
Bernard's is sort of separated by a lot of trees,
yeah.
but the gray house will sit right next to that property also. So that might be, I don't know if you guys would want to look into it, but that might be a property also that you might want to look at, because whatever you put there, that house is going to be sitting
It's
next
kind
to.
of right in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The commission, if,
I know the 2 houses behind.
oh, I'm sorry for you at the end of the table, but Nelson Lee's here on the corner. The old bike shop is car washes next door. These are the 2 that this commission had agreed to purchase. You had also instructed me to try to negotiate purchase agreements on these 2 here. I asked Bryce Conyers in Daleville if he would assist me with that, because he supposedly knew these people. He had trouble making contact with these folks. As I have driven this house here doesn't look too bad.
It doesn't look too bad, it's
Yeah.
the white one that,
It's this one
That
right
one,
here,
yeah.
and so I instructed Bryce to please try hard to make contact with these people and execute the purchase agreement that you had approved me to present on that house. So then, James, are you talking about a house that would sit right here?
right, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I'd be at this commission's pleasure if you want me to pursue that as an option. to
I would
purchase.
think where, me personally, where the house actually sits at, if you're going to redevelop all of this,
Yeah,
I would probably want to look at that also.
and I believe there's a larger piece of property that
There
goes back
is.
in down towards the
Right.
river for
Yeah.
that parcel too.
Yeah, there's a ditch right there too. That's
Yeah,
just-
it's a
natural dividing line,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
after that house.
But if you've ever drove by there and where the house sits, and that would probably be a piece of property that I would want to look at.
Is that the rental property now?
We've been there several times. I don't know if it's rental property or if they actually
Okay.
own it, but,
I can find out one day.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take a look at it.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
You ready for the audience?
I'm sorry?
You don't let the audience talk, so it was public discussion. I had a question. First, I wanted to thank you for not holding the August meeting because I was out of town.
We did that just because.
And I figured that's why you didn't hold it. I had a question about this J. Crew thing. He said it was behind McDonald's. That area is in Chesterfield.
It is, it had been in.
But he said it was in Daleville, and it's not.
It's gonna have, we're gonna seek a Daleville address, but we also have the TIF. It's in our TIF.
Oh, the one you just
Yeah,
created?
the one that we created, it's actually
Okay.
a TIF. It has an Anderson address right now, Ron. But what we're hoping to do is the roadway in there is private. Chesterfield doesn't want to maintain it. We're gonna look into Delaware actually taking that roadway over, since that property being the TIF, and try to work and give it a Delaware address.
Well, the reason I'm aware of that is because that was part of the big fight when we incorporated Daleville, and I know they, number one, their water tower was in Daleville and what we were incorporating. And that McDonald's, they wanted that. And so he made the comment it was in Daleville, and
I think, Ron,
Really
too,
is.
I heard in the discussion, maybe some adjoining property had already had moved to a Commerce Drive address, so maybe there is a possibility
Well,
of getting it changed.
yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to be technical, I guess. And Carrie, your comments on that brownfield stuff, I know when I was early on the council, the commissioners took on an old service station on Willard Street, and they shouldn't have touched it. They inherited it through tax sale, you know, and once they touched it, it got really awful. I forget how many $100,000 they spent removing old tanks, and then you have to test the soil I don't know what all the ramifications were, but I know it was a ton of money. So it's a good point. It looks like you've already committed yourselves now. I don't know how you get back out of it. Are you paying a reasonable price for that corner? I mean, I didn't hear any numbers.
Yeah, 180 is the sale price, but my understanding is the tanks are gone, right?
Tanks are gone.
The tanks are gone.
Tanks
Well,
are
that's
gone.
good.
This commission has contracted with a Brownfield consultant who's been working that project for some time now. And I think there is a path forward on the project. They've been cooperatively working with IDIM on it. Yes, and there
Removing
is
some of
there is
the
assistance
soil.
from the state for some of the cleanup and to cover some of the cost. We're continuing to negotiate that commitment upward from the state. So I agree, Ron, with you 100%. It wouldn't be a recommendation if the environmental company didn't have a path forward on the project, so, yeah.
And we're on the 180s for 3 properties.
Correct.
Three separate parcels.
Well, and your thoughts on seeking the other properties that might be involved? Once the word's out, the prices are going to go up. So you might as well get it done now, as to wait until you get a prospect, and then all of a sudden everybody wants more money. So
That's exactly right.
that's been one of the things I've had in my mind for years.
Buy the property, then
Buy it all one day, go out and have people go out one night and man, get some options on every property you want.
What this commission, though, works in their favor is that by IC code, they're not allowed to purchase a property for more than the average of 2 appraisals. So-
Well, I
So
understand
when this commission authorizes me to negotiate a sale, I just simply ask the people, what is your price that you want for the property? And when they say the price, I say, that's okay, we can write it for that, but we'll have a condition that we'll have to procure 2 appraisals, and we'll either pay your price if it's less than the average of 2 appraisals, or we'll pay the average of 2 appraisals.
But once you buy these other properties,
Yeah,
Carrie will tell you, they're gonna go right to those comps. And that's gonna you've already
well,
raised the price.
no, we're only paying the average of the 2 appraisals on this.
Go on this
property now.
parcel, but I'm talking about the ones you haven't negotiated yet.
Right, right.
The sooner the better, because
You're right.
you're already raising the values by buying the
By
corner
buying the property.
and the other two
Yeah.
properties. So if you're thinking at all about anything else, you need to do it post
So as you
haste.
start building on the other properties, then it's gonna raise the other prices on the other areas too, so it's better to just go in and get everything
Get it done.
now than just wait.
I've been doing real estate since 1969. I've done it as a profession for a long time, so we all know that that's a curve, isn't it, Jerry? He knows what he's talking about.
All right,
That's all I have. Thanks for listening
thank
to
you,
me.
Ron. All right, entertain motion to adjourn.
We had a motion from Angie.
We have
I
a
second it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.